Hello and welcome to my channel. I am San the Fun, and today I'll be discussing about Orb Warriors. Specifically though, I cannot really mention much about the script due to some spoiler spot. If you hadn't really read Celestic Warriors The Origins, I won't really recommend you checking this video because it depends on if you had read Celestic Warriors The Origins, because there would be some spoilers here. So better read Celestic Warriors The Origin, and I think you may watch this video. But if you're ready for spoilers, fine, you may watch it. First of all, let me just talk about the script mainly. Script wise, let me just say, the planned scripts were from part 1. You just have to read from part 1 up till part 8, which is right here. Yep, up till here, part 8. Now, these two parts wasn't really scripted, let me just say. Originally I wanted it up till part 8. These two parts though, I just thought like if I could just add these two parts, we can have more development and adding some more flavor to it. For that reason, I basically added these two parts, probably also for the fancy specs, and I guess you obviously know about what I'm talking about, right? And the epilogue story part that you are seeing right here, you have to check this out. Epilogue story. I basically recommend you going through the entire parts. But if you want to know one thing, the main plot ends right here. The main plot is. These two parts are sort of a side story, you can say. But I may have mentioned side story, but it's also a very important arc, by the way. But also, just for kind information, if you just want to see up till what happens after the main villain is defeated, can reach out up till this part. That's all. But if you read these two parts, you'll get to know more about the Celestic Warrior universe. Specifically the future, in future what happens. So for that reason, if you just wanna know what happens to them in the future, like almost 8 to 10 years later on, these parts are for you, and this part also has some development. Epilogue story specifically focuses on what happens to them 8 years to 10 years later. And this part is is important for two other characters who actually accompanies the protagonist. Now, this part is the spoiler, so if you actually manage to come up till here, spoiler alert. If you hadn't really read, if you are ready for the spoiler, fine, then hear it out. In this story, we have two characters, Mike and Heidi, whose planets gets destroyed by the vampire family. And what I mean by that, you probably had already seen it, it's written. So mainly what it focuses on is their planets are already destroyed in front of them, and they were totally helpless, but thanks to them finding the orbs. By the way, the orbs were actually from the same orbs which were split from Dark Void after his defeat. And obviously that's the finale part of Celestic Warriors The Origins. So it was split by the Solarian god for the purification part, and those two orbs goes to them, and due to the orbs' mysterious powers, they were saved from destruction. So you can say that's what makes it the pure sequel to Celestic Warriors The Origins, even though the villains differ here. And after that, what happens is the orbs gets them into two different spaceships based on their kind. Mike here is a magician, and Hiri, I'd say, is a book from two different planets. One plant is, you can say, for knowledge and magic, another plant is for farming and cooking. So their plants also differ quite a lot in that case. So well, they now these two also are opposites. As I said already, I am a bit obsessed with opposites. So well, they just go on a journey, or maybe just say they just move to space via the ship involuntarily without them knowing. Obviously, they want vengeance, but it's actually due to the power of the orbs that they head on to the direction where the vampire family is going, via the weird spaceships that the orbs, depending on their professions, I guess. And the interesting fact is, the spaceship actually fuses. Another spoiler right there. Fun part is they start bickering, and well, let me just say what happens after that. From the bickering part, there'll be some comedic moments, and the encounter with the vampire family will be pretty comedic. Their bickering part is mainly the pretty interesting part, I mean. So, and it actually puts a lot of comedy, and you'll find that this organization, and compared to the two protagonists from Celestic Warriors The Origins, you will just find them totally different. I mean, just could say sort of like rebels, childish rebellions stuff, and they will also probably later on become a bit of troublemakers type. Um, and then they will also later on meet up with Jim, and let me just say he's actually meant to act like their guardian. And yes, it's gonna be a very tough job for him to handle these two. Then, later on in the later parts, you'll get introduced to yet another character who would be Edward's daughter. I mean, the same Edward that you read in Celestic Warriors The Origins. If you had finished, you probably would know who Edward really was. And it would be Edward's daughter who would also accompany them in the journey. So you'd mainly know something about the orbs, the cursed power of orbs. So there'll be some rebellions there, or let me just say, if you read the story, you'll understand it. But later on, though, there will also be an incident happening, which will actually show the cursed power of orbs, which is according to the script. And well, the power will be disrupted by a mysterious Orb Warrior, which you'll also find here. Obviously, that warrior will also go back. I mean, it would be thanks to that warrior that the mysterious power, I mean the cursed powers, which would be disrupted, will all be back to normal. I mean, it would be thanks to whoever the warrior was that they will be saved actually. And the main theme though would probably be saving the fairy tale universe. The vampire family would mainly spread corruption throughout the fairy tale universe, and their job is basically to save every fairy tale planets, and also learning. Learning is a big part of the journey though. They actually would learn from the fairy tales. So if you are sort of a fairy tale fan, well, I also included fairy tales here. It's one of the main themes of Orb Warriors. And finally though, in part 7, you will get the boss battle. And by part 8 it will be finished. Boss battle will be pretty epic, let me just say. And you will just like the concept. I mean, if you just manage to get to the boss battle, and they will also gain some forms way before that on battling the generals or the part of the family, the others, I mean. Those forms would also be pretty interesting on its own way. It would be pretty significant, let me just say. You will like it. The fonts, I mean, I just added my own unique ideas to it. And alongside that, these parts. The final one though is pretty much related to some church stuff. I mean, I've taken the inspiration from uh, some what can I say, horror movies, I guess. Some holy things will happen here. If you are a bit interested in horror, yeah, it's gonna be a bit of horror. The last part probably. So, well, the final part, let me just say, is pretty interesting in its own right. And also, what happens really there, you'll be pretty much bonded and pretty much like the characters. Just like you see, you get pretty much bonded with Super Sentai or Kamen Rider characters. Celestic Warriors is actually also like sort of like those series in which you will probably get bonded with the characters. It goes for all of the series that I'm actually making. You have to like them, like you seriously get bonded with them. You will be sort of thinking yourself as a part of the family. So that's the sort of stuff mainly. And the final two parts are basically based on Jim and Edward's daughter. Mainly these two parts are focused on them. Mike and his parts are pretty, yeah, they do appear here, but their roles are comparatively less compared to what we have of Jim and Edward's daughter. So up till here, that's actually my script here, and I sort of had visions previously about well, I'm gonna make a blue and yellow, one to be a magician, another one with a book. I just imagined, and the thinking process was pretty much like, yes, there'll be some fairy tales. I just thought it like, you just say, just see the facts. The facts were, well, it will also have fairy tales. Another thing to be added would be vampires. Without vampires, it won't be fun. And I just imagine the scenes of how cool they would look like. And taking all of these on mind, I just wanted to make it. I also wanted to have some rebels. No, let me just say, by the time I was creating the story, I actually thought about, hey, what if we make them rebels? That would make more sense. So I actually didn't want them to get along that easily, so they are bickering, and that's actually part of the routine. So you will pretty much like the way they tease each other or they quarrel. That's actually one of the routines part. I just want to make some uniqueness, and the ones that inspired me to write such bickering characters is thanks to Pokemon Adventures manga, Ruby and Sapphire part. Mainly, I was a bit inspired with Ruby and Sapphire part. I sort of made it like them, and probably some anime concepts too. So basically, I'd taken some inspirations on mine and I just sort of made the characters like that. Anyways, I hope you complete Celestic Warriors Origins and actually make it here. If you manage to make it here, definitely read it. You will definitely not regret it. It will be far more interesting, a booster. So, well, that's all. And we'll hope to see you all in the next video.